Hello and good evening to one and all here. This is Divya Joshi, your host for today's session of our series Talk Without Constraints. This is our second session. So, here I come up with a little introduction of our organization, Sarkari School. Sarkari School is an initiative of We Citizens Foundation. This is an initiative to build a platform for those working in a school education, uplifting the future of younger generation through their hard work. It works for the cause of quality education in public schools. We, as an organization, work towards creating awareness and a pro public school narrative for public schools of India. Under this organization, we have some important projects which come up in support of underprivileged students. Next, coming to our very own project, Project Vedana, it is an initiative by Sarkari School which aims at reducing school absenteeism dropouts among girls due to menstruation. We work towards this cause by creating awareness campaigns and involving youth through dialogue initiatives, etc. And also, major focus is on public school girls. So, as the name suggests, we are here to talk without any constraint. So, grid your lines, fortify yourself because there's a lot coming your way. So, I would like to request my co host Neha to kindly introduce us with our guest speaker for today's session. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Divya. Hello, I'm Neha Yadav here to host this session. We have our guest Uddipta Biswas, a history student at Lady Shri Ram College. I welcome you on the behalf of Sarkari School family under Project Vedana. Today I'll ask you some questions regarding menstrual health and its related issues. But before that, a very well quoted J.D. Ederson that feminism isn't about making women stronger. Women are already strong. It's about changing the way the world perceives that strength. Now let's begin the session with a positive quote. So my first question is, how important do you think is the role of family to give the first lesson about periods to a girl before experiences her first?
Thank you for that warm welcome. Yes, coming to the question, I think in very short to answer that question is very important. And I would like to add something more. It's not about a girl; it's about every child. Every family should take up the initiative to give this knowledge, give this information to every child, not a girl, also any other gender that exists about menstruation because it's a very important phenomena of our life and there is I don't think any point hiding it from the boys just because he's a boy. I think if the proper education is given to the girl as well as boy, then I think it will be better for our society and they themselves will be in a better hegemony with one another.
I'm so sorry. Um, yes, I think girls should have that much information that she can prepare herself for her first period, and this information she can access from anywhere. Doesn't matter, be it family, school, or internet. So my next question is, how was your first experience? Like traumatic because of being unaware or secure because of being already aware?
Well, thankfully, I come from a very supported and happy environment where actually I was properly informated about all of these things, and I was prepared to be be ready that this thing can happen to you, and not to be afraid at all because this is something very natural which happens with everyone, and be prepared in every possible ways. So yeah, I would definitely not describe it as traumatic. It was secure, but there is always this personal thing for us, like why is it this happening, what is happening. It's always a little bit mysterious, it's always a little bit unknown to us. That was definitely there, but no, it was not traumatic. I was very I was supported by my family, I was properly educated about it, I was given all the mental support I needed at that point of time.
That's great. Now proceed with the third question. Are there any myths or stereotypes associated with periods followed at your home? What negative and irreparable impacts do you have think about stereotypical practices could possibly have on girls' mind?
Well, if I'm talking about just my home, I come from a nuclear family. There is definitely no stereotype or any stigma attached to periods. We all take it in a very positive sense, and as I've already said, it's a very secure environment there. But definitely, yes, when I come to talk about my extended family, those people, they do come from some villages and all, and they do have this stigma attached to them. Like when I still visit my grandparents home, though my grandparents are there, I have my elder aunts and uncles, they still believe that when girls are going through this periods and all, they should not be entering the they should not be doing all the worshipping and should not be entering these places or do anything that includes god or which is holy. So yeah, this is a very problematic mindset which we must fight, and we should work together to so that it does not exist anymore.
Yeah, even I'm not allowed to visit temples during periods. I think this is need to stop because there is something strange. There is nothing strange about it because it's gifted to every girl by God only, and I don't believe that God won't allow us to move its own place. Yeah, I agree. Now, next question. What do you think about tax application on sanitary pads? Do you think they should be distributed free for women by the government?
I think they should. Yes, now comes the age-old conversation. Like there has always been a debate about how can condoms be tax-free and sanitary pads are tax when taxes are applied on sanitary pads. Then I think yes, it should be at least if not freely supplied to all the women, they should be tax-free. Like this is a necessity. Every year we lose so many people. It will be very less to say that they suffer. I We know a lot of a huge number of people, they lose their life, not people, girls, they lose their life because of sanitary and hygienic conditions that they have to go through during menstruation. So I think it's somewhat not somewhat, it is definitely the responsibility of our government to take care of the women of our country. And yes, they should definitely distribute pads, sanitary napkins and all menstrual whatever menstrual products without for the betterment of the society and for the betterment of women.
Yeah, I agree with your point. Like government should provide sanitary pads for free, or if it is not possible, then at least at subsidized rates, so that girl can afford it and won't face period poverty. So our next question is, according to you, how teenagers should take care of their health while menstruating?
Well, I would definitely say it's a tough time. It's a lot. There are various hormonal changes. There are different kinds of pains that girls go through, and teenagers anyway is a very difficult time for us, for our body. So yes, teenagers, most importantly, they should maintain proper hygiene, which is absolutely important. They should get themselves cleaned and be in a healthy condition. They should eat healthy. They lose a lot of blood. So I think food which are uh, very much, which has a lot of iron and which will definitely help their gain back that much blood will be very much, it's very important for them to have. And most importantly, I think the most important thing that is needed for them to have a proper support system from their home. I know it's not something physical or some, but this is a very important thing. Girls still now they have to face so much of mental trauma just because they are menstruating. It's not healthy. Ultimately, we have to come to agree that mental health plays a great role in our well-being. So instead of eating and maintaining all these habits, instead of physical, we should also look after this mental health and make sure that these young girls who are very new to this, who are very new to this experience, should be supported properly, loved, and well cared for.
This goes for diet, but what do you think, like how can girls maintain or take care of their hygiene when it comes to periods, menstrual cycles and all?
I think hygiene is a very subjective question, right? What that person feels good in and how what kind of activities that person feels cool in, that depends on that person. Like for me, I can personally say that I like to take showers, I like to keep myself clean, I like to use the sanitizer at the moment. All this they can do, and most importantly they should follow the guidelines. The sanitary napkins should be changed in the specific mentioned time that is given over there, like for 5 6 hours you should change the sanitary napkins. You should use safer environments. You should keep your bed sheets and your room clean, which is important. Wear fresh clothes.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
I
goes.
agree.
But like most of the girls, they are underprivileged and they
Yes,
go to public schools. So it's really difficult for them to manage all this.
absolutely. I absolutely agree. See, I think for the time when we don't really have the resources, when our government is not really doing a lot to help those people out who are who are subjected to this kind of poverty and this kind of what to say, pliable conditions, what they can do is they have to make sure that they are in a good condition with the minimum amount of resources available to them. I don't know what, but it is a very difficult time for them, and all they can do, I think, is they can keep themselves clean. I know there are millions of girls who still doesn't have the access to use sanitary napkins or menstrual products, modern menstrual products, and they have to still maintain, they pass these days using all kinds of cloths and sands and whatever not. And I think their first thing is they should be educated and they should be learned taught how to maintain the proper hygiene and the minimal resources available. And they should be given the resources, which is like the first thing our government should take up for period poverty and period welfare for the girls.
Yeah, I totally support your answer.
Okay, proceed with the next question. Are you always very conscious in public places around people while menstruating? If yes, then what are the reasons? Like false smell or fear of staining, etc.?
I won't say very conscious, but yes, I am conscious. And not really because of foul smell, it's mostly because of the staining. As a society, I don't think we have come across, still overcome that situation where if we get a stain, the society will actually be very compliant to us and tell that it's all right, nothing has happened, this is very natural. If we get a stain and we are traveling somewhere in the public places, we are in a bus or in a train or in a metro, they'll definitely give us weird looks, make us uncomfortable, and however much we try and teach, this is a thing that will definitely, that keeps on bothering me. So yes, personally I feel very, not very, I do feel conscious, and I feel like, yeah, it's because of the stain and all. Yes, I do feel conscious.
It's
Yes,
about
this
strain,
happens
but
with me.
even people are shy in talking about periods. I just had this experience in last 2 days. I went for a survey and like girls or even boys were not ready to talk about it. Like they were very shy about it. Ki, no, we can't. This is not normal in our family. We can't talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll like to share something which has happened. I have seen that. So what happens is, due to our social construct, our boys are not really the first thing I said in about the first question was not only girls and boys should also be educated about this. So, like, because of a very beautiful social construct, our boys are not really educated properly about the menstrual cycle or the period or whatever the changes that the girls goes through. So, what happened when we were in fifth standard? Also, this thing happened is their girl was getting period and she got stains in her school skirt, and she was definitely in school. It was school hours, and the boys, instead of being compliant and helpful to her, they started making fun of her and making certain mean comments about her. I understand all of them are very young, but I think that situation would not have come, and that girl should not have would not have gone through that trauma or that experience, not trauma, that experience, if the boys were treated properly, if they were given the proper education or the proper information about these things at the right point of time. And yes, they still feel like this is not something, this does not bother us, our family never taught us this, we are not a part of this, so why would we talk about it? This is a very, I would say, is a very problematic construct, because something this natural will affect you someday or the other, in some way or the other. So why not talk about it from the very beginning? Why not get the proper education from the very start?
Yeah, because in some way or other it does come in the way. It's a natural thing.
Exactly, exactly. If not at 12, it will definitely come back at 21. So why not learn
Yeah,
about it
exactly.
properly from 12?
Not talking
Yeah.
about boys and or mains in general, but even in families, brothers are not ready to support their sisters. So it's a,
Absolutely,
not a big deal to talk about periods and know about it. You just need to support, moral, mental support only.
exactly, absolutely agreed.
Yeah, even I remember uh, when I was in ninth class, my dress got stain of blood in one of my cousin's wedding. Everyone was staring at me, and I wasn't aware about this. That time, it was so embarrassing for me because I used to think that only girls know about the fact of periods. But now it's clear that it's known to everyone, but it's not a cup of tea for everyone. So, next question. What do you think is the first important step, like behavioral change or infrastructural change, in order to make public places menstruation health and hygiene friendly?
I think infrastructural change, because behavioral change, still, we come from, like, I would like to speak from my perspective. I do come from a well-to-do family where I have been supported, and I have been given the proper resources to survive a menstrual cycle, to get past with that situation, and to take care of my health properly. And I think our first concern should be that, like, providing the people who are living in underprivileged condition with the definitely needed menstrual products, which are definitely most crucial for them to survive that phase. Behavioral change cannot come in one day, but infrastructural change can happen in a, not in one day, definitely not, but in a time compared, when compared with behavioral change, it can come sooner. So why not focus on something which can be uh, achieved which can be achieved in a lesser amount of time than the one which can take some point of time. That I'm not saying that we should give up on behavioral change altogether, but we should focus more on infrastructural change, because that's something necessary. Material is important for us to survive, so infrastructural change, yeah.
But don't you think infrastructural change will actually come up with behavioral change only, like the mindset of people and everything? So,
Yeah,
how
I
will
think so.
infrastructure go first? If people are not ready to accept periods as a normal thing, how can they go with infrastructure? How can they change all that?
Change in to bring about infrastructural change, I don't think we need each and everyone who is in possession or in the authority to change that. Few people can bring about infrastructural change, but when we are talking about behavioral change, it's a big thing, and behavioral change will definitely take time. So why not focus on giving the people, giving the girls the basic necessary items which they need at the very moment? Why not supply them? Like we said, our government should definitely are is should definitely provide these girls with the most necessary menstrual items that they require to survive this period, that they require to maintain a proper basic healthy condition. So yeah, behavioral change, definitely what you are saying is definitely right. If not behavioral change doesn't come, how will infrastructural change will come? But I think infrastructural change can come with, like, at least even if the 40% people are ready to accept, if behavioral change has come about in the 40% of people, they can bring about the infrastructural change. But when we are talking particularly about behavioral change, it will be a massive process. That's what I tried to convey.
Yeah, I agree with your point. Uh, how important do you think is to educate not just girls about menstruation, but equally educate boys as well?
Like I said, very important. At the point of time where in schools this group starts happening and people starts whispering and all this about periods, this and that, as if it's something out of the world, something very unusual. If people, if young children, boys, girls, and any other people, if they are properly educated about this won't be happening. Period won't be a stigma anymore. If they are properly educated about it, period, girls won't gather together to talk about period, and feel shy about it, so that their conversation, their words might not reach others. In family functions, like you said, you will not feel uncomfortable if you are very, if we start talking about periods from a very young age and everyone has the knowledge of it. No other girl like the one who went through that experience in my class will go through that experience again if everyone is properly educated about menstruation.
Yeah, it's important for boys to be normalized about this thing because girls are normal about it. And if boys will also be normal, having normal attitude towards it, automatically it become a normal thing for all of us. So it's important to teach them and need some changes in their behavior as well. Okay, proceed with the next question. Were you ever involved in any work as a change maker, or have you achieved anything as a change maker in working for menstrual awareness?
Yes. So, like I said, my extended family, they come from a village, and we have a primary school right in front of our house. So, we did organize this distribution of menstrual pads and menstrual other objects, vitamin C tablets and iron tablets, which was mainly the initiative of one of my uncles who is a doctor. And yes, I have been a and I have been an active part of that project. Other than that, no.
That's great, great initiative. Uh, do you think government must make period poverty also one of the focal points while formulating policies for women?
Absolutely. Like what we as women, Indian women mostly face is lack of education, and mostly whatever problem they are facing comes some way or the other comes down upon this education only. So, and the most important reason why millions of girls drop out from school is period is menstruation. After a certain point of time, they stop going to school because there are not proper washrooms available for the girls. They're not getting the proper food. They are too weak to attend schools and whatnot. So definitely, period poverty is not one of the most important, the most important object which should be focused on while implementing policies and for making sure of the betterment of other girls and women.
Exactly, it's about their health, so government should consider this point as well. My next question is, we often find boys making fun of menstruation as a process. They even tend to tease the girl if they find out she's menstruating by passing obnoxious comments. This insensitive behavior is very worrisome. What's your take upon this?
This behavior should not happen. This is something that should definitely not happen. It's anyway the girl who is going through this menstruation is already going through a lot. And on top of that, some comments, I know it might be easy for us to tell these young girls just ignore, don't pay attention to it, but at the end of the day we all know that some way or the other it does affect us. It leaves some it does have a very negative impact on us. If not today, if we do go back home and think about it, right? And that's a lot, and that is not something which should be happening. And I think again, I'll be repeating myself again about this. The only way, the one and only way to stop this from happening is to educate people properly that this should not be happening. They should be known that this is not right. This is something very natural, and try taking it very naturally. Accept it. It's like it's like having it's like eating and drinking. It's a simple bodily process that every girl goes through, and it's not like you make fun and that will not happen, and it's not a matter of shame. And it's just because they have been brought up in that social construct, they have been taught about it like that, they have been built up with the stigma about that subject. That's why they are talking about all of this in that sense. If they have been educated properly, given the proper knowledge at the right point of time, they would not be doing this, and that should be done. And they should not be doing making these obnoxious comments or passing mean comments on girls who are menstruating.
Yeah. Can you suggest any of the lesson that you have learned from your experiences? which you think that young teens should definitely be aware of, or something that other girls should do or should not do at all?
Uh, yes. Most importantly, to all the girls, like, I would like to say only one thing. Nothing happens if you enter holy place or temples when you are menstruating. It's a very false belief that something curse will happen on you, or you'll go into some abject uh, sadness, or something very bad will happen to you. Nothing happens. Be confident. That does not make you any weak. That does not make you weak or untouchable or anything else. You are as strong as you always were, and you always will be. That's the most important learning I think I have gained from my mother, who has always told me that this is something very natural. I know it's painful, but it's something that will happen. You cannot run away from it. You have to not overcome it. You have to take it in a very positive way. Think of the positive things. Your body is so beautiful. Your body is capable of creating life, and this is the most important symbol for it. This is the most important symbol. This is the most important process that you'll ever experience. And that's it. Be proud of what you are, and never fear or never feel weak for this.
So, hi Udipta. Like, how's your experience about talking all of this on such a platform going live?
I think I liked it very much to actually talk about us, about a matter which is so stigmated and which is so dealt with such a delicate matter, I would like to say. And it was a great opportunity talking about all of it in front when people are actually hearing about it. It was a great opportunity, and I cherished each and every seconds of it.
So, what do you think? What will be your feedback for our organization, for our project, as we are going up for such a session and talking about periods, menstruation as a common thing?
I think you guys are doing an extraordinary job, and the questions that you asked were really very thoughtful, and something that everyone should be asked. Like, their thoughts are important, and these questions are very important for our society to move on and make sure that every girl feels safer and better in a society, and they feel more included. So I think you guys are doing an amazing job, and all the thumbs up to you guys.
Okay, so we have come towards the end of our session. So, on the behalf of our organization, I would like to thank you. I would like to extend my heartful gratitude to our esteemed guest, you, Udipta. Thank you for enlightening our session and sharing your experience with us. And I believe that little steps lead to big change. So, hopefully, today's session will be the add on to breaking the stereotypes of menstruation, so called menstruation. Also, a big thanks to our viewers for making the time to be with us today, and I make sure to come up with more exciting episodes. And it was an honor to have you as our guest speaker, Udipti. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It was nice interacting with you. Thank you so much for being here.
Likewise, thank you so much.